Guys, so I'm reading commentary on marriage. How is marriage supposed to work? Marriage is something that I read a ton on while I was married, and I'm still married, 33 years. So, I read and read and read. I read and read and read when I became a Christian. I took classes, I took Bible studies, I educated myself. I read about marriage. I constantly worked at new principles in my marriage, implemented them on paper, and then would apply them. Same with my parenting, same with just everything in life, right? You need the time to be home. And this is the point of being home for many wives, is because you are watching the ways of the home. That is your job. You are watching what comes into the home, what goes out, who the influences are in your family, who isn't. So marriage, being a homemaker is not just, okay, I'm going to do the dishes and clean up the home and throw everything in the cupboard and, now I'm done and let's go have some fun. So homemaking is you are, doing basic survival skills for your family. When we were in a trailer for 23 years, it was being frugal. It was, using all resources available to make sure my family actually survived. When you are not taking care of your family, there's so many problems that can happen. So when I was first married, we had our issues, and then, my husband's family came up against me and said, oh, she left the marriage, and not even asking what happened, where my husband wasn't being nice. So he had apologized. I was in hairdressing school. He had his car broke down. He had his friend put a note on my car. I love you. I'm sorry. Da 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 da. So we had worked it out. So then I became a Christian, and that was the real motive for change in my life. That was like, holy cow, Jesus Christ died for me at my lowest point in life. And I was hungry. I was so hungry for knowledge and wisdom and righteousness. I just, all I could do was focus on him. And my huge family, extended family, would be like, oh, geez, Melissa's got religion and all this stuff. It didn't bother me at all because I was busy, right? I was busy with my family. So I had my firstborn son. And, that's when I became a Christian and went to church and took MOPS classes, mentorship from an older woman. And then, as a wife, I was like, I really tried to be the best wife I could be. And I got, an older woman's advice. But God's pattern for marriage wasn't devised by Adam, as the traditional marriage ceremony states, okay? Marriage was born in the loving heart of God for the blessing and benefit of mankind. So we know that marriage is the rock of society. No matter what the courts may say or society may permit when it comes to marriage, God has the first word, and he would have the last word. Marriage is supposed to be from beginning to end, right? So you're supposed to be committed to somebody for their whole entire life until death do you part. So for me, I just did a video about my husband actually having the ability to actually kill me. I mean, he pushed me, he had taken my wrist and just, threw me. And this is not what marriage is supposed to be, right? Marriage is supposed to be one flesh. There should be intimacy there. I think we have a lot of unbiblical marriages today, and Jesus would say from the beginning it was not so. This is never meant to be. Any kind of abuse in a marriage is never supposed to be. You're supposed to have one flesh. You're supposed to be watching your marriage for any weeds that come up, any foxes, any things that, any stuff that can tear you away. So when I came here, my husband didn't really want to take responsibility for the house or anything. Didn't want to take trash out, nothing. So when I came here, we needed housing, and he didn't want to take care of his family. So we came over here and it was a temporary solution to figure things out, and then he blindsided me with a divorce. So this is not supposed to be. But Jesus does say, divorce is permitted. He says, in the case of hard-heartedness, which my husband got very hard-hearted. It was all about him now, all about him. We're still married, and he's abusing the marriage. So, this is definitely not how it's supposed to be, but, you're supposed to repent and change and turn around. This is a regular thing you do as a Christian. You turn your life around. So if somebody, I had gotten counsel, and they said if the unbeliever wants to leave, let him leave, because he certainly is acting like an unbeliever. He said people can make a profession of faith, but you don't know their heart. And by the way your husband's acting, we don't know that he's saved, so let him go. So unless somebody wants to repent and really change their ways, you cannot do anything about it. But before God's eyes, you're still married, but you cannot have a man, basically making you unsafe, tearing you down left and right, going off and doing whatever he does. Who knows what he does? And, that's not a marriage. And I have, been the one saying we're still married, we're still staying married, despite what you do. It's, it's unconditional love, but what you're doing is not okay. And, you try to make the marriage work, but God also gives us a free will and says if somebody wants to leave, let them leave.